Now, the subtopic of today's class is very interesting, which is known as anion gap. In our body, we have cations as well as anions. So, the major cations which is present in our body, which we generally look for, is sodium and potassium, which are cations, and that these cations they comprises 96% of all the cations in the body. Then we have anions, which are the negatively charged ions. So these are chloride and bicarbonate, which is the major anions, which comprises of around 86% of the total anions. So if you can see that cations and your anions, they are usually one cation neutralizes another anion, so it is always in a neutral phase. But if you see the contribution of chloride and bicarbonate, it is we can see that there are some anions which are not measured or which are unidentified, that forms the gap between the measured cation and measured anion, and that gap is known as anion gap. This anion gap is always there, which has a normal value, and if it exceeds, or it can be normal or it can be reduced, that can lead to some form of the diseases. So we have seen that sodium and potassium major cations, chloride and bicarbonate are the major anions, and the sum of cations and anions, if there are some unmeasured anions there, which constitute the anion gap, and that is mainly by the negatively charged major molecules like proteins, your phosphates, your lactates, other acidic substance which forms your unmeasured anions, or which comprises of the anion gap. Now this anion gap, they are calculated as total sum of cations minus total sum of anions. So these are the cations and these are the anions, and this will give you the anion gap, which is the normal one is 10 to 12 millimole per liter. So we can have increased anion gap. Why? Increased anion gap can be if these unmeasured substances are more, or if you have increased number of your cations, like in case of hyperkalemia, hyponatremia, you can have increased anion gap, or unmeasured anions, if they are getting more, then that can also lead to high anion gap, acidosis mainly. So it is seen in cases like in renal failure, diabetic ketoacidosis. And normal anion gap means anion gap is not increased, it is within 10 to 12 millimole per liter, but there is fall in pH, that is acidosis. It means that the your unmeasured anions are not or sorry your anions are lost in the body to an extent, to that extent where anion gap is not changed, or it is made stable in 10 to 12 millimole per liter, causes the condition known as normal anion gap acidosis. What happens here is, we can see an example of hyperchloremic acidosis. Since there is a term known as acidosis, we have loss of bicarbonate, so the body tends to reabsorb chloride to maintain the neutrality. So bicarbonate loss can be because of number of reasons, where there is any renal tubular acidosis where bicarbonate cannot be reabsorbed, or when the body is in the state where the enough bicarbonate is not there, the body tries to conserve this chloride, so there is no actually the chloride is conserved to maintain the electrical neutrality of the body. That's why the condition in some cases known as hyperchloremic acidosis, your normal anion gap is mainly because of your increased chloride in the body. So that's why the condition known as hyperchloremic acidosis can happen. Now, I'll be talking about what are the major causes of anion gap. So we can just remember this high anion gap acidosis by a simple formula or simple mnemonic known as MUDPILES. In some other mnemonic, we can also say it as Dr. Mapples. So I think it will be much easier, Mudpiles, where M refers to your metabolic methanol poisoning, urea, your D means DKA, P means propylene glycol poisoning, isoniazide and isoniazide therapy, L is lactic acidosis, E is ethylene glycol or ethanol poisoning, and S is salicylate. So any of these condition, if is there, it leads to high anion gap acidosis. In these cases, the unmeasured anion becomes very much, it's more, and there is decrease in your pH because of more and more acid accumulation causing high anion gap acidosis. I'll just give you some examples. For example, in case of renal failure, like in uremia, where in renal failure uremia occurs, that can lead to accumulation of your sulfuric, phosphoric and organic anions and decreased ammonium ion formation. So this causes more and more your protons to be H plus to be accumulated, and these anions causes increase in the difference, that is anion gap is more than 12 millimole per liter. We have ketoacidosis like in cases of DKA or prolonged starvation. We have lactic acidosis, salicylates, amino aciduria, so on. So to note one thing in lactic acidosis is the compound which is formed from pyruvate via, in case of anaerobic glycolysis, via lactic dehydrogenase. So this lactic acidosis is of three types. That is, we have type A and there are two types, type A and type B. B is classified into 1, 2 and 3. Type A is mainly because of your circulatory failure, like in case of the heart failure, anaerobic glycolysis can lead to more and more lactate, which cause lactic acidosis. In type B we have 1, 2 and 3. 1 is mainly because of your organ dysfunction, like the cirrhosis of the liver. You have the liver is not functioning properly, in case of renal disease as well. Type 2 is mainly because of the drugs like your salicylates, your bisguanides, your sulfates, which can cause type B lactic acidosis. And third one is because of PDH complex deficiency, which where your pyruvate is not converted into acetyl CoA. That can lead to more and more lactic acidosis, lactate accumulation causing lactic acidosis or pyruvate carboxylase deficiency. So these are the major cause of high anion gap acidosis. And these high anion gap is mainly because of the unmeasured anions like sulfates, phosphates, acid, phosphoric acid, lactic acid, lactates, which accumulation causes more and more anion gap. Now, I've given an example of high anion gap in case of renal glomerular dysfunction. I told you that in case of the renal failure, there is prevalence or uremia is highly prevalent. So, in case of glomerular dysfunction, your HCO3 generation is impaired. So, HCO3, which is generated mainly in your kidney, due to the glomerular dysfunction, it is impaired. So, there is decrease in bicarbonate. The first thing. This is mainly because of sodium available for exchange with proton, and the amount of filtered buffer anions available to H plus are both reduced. We all know that sodium and hydrogen, the sodium enters inside the cell and your hydrogen goes outside. This is mainly via sodium hydrogen exchanger. So this is not available in case of glomerular dysfunction. That's why proton is not exchanged in place of sodium, and this proton is mainly accumulated inside. So that causes your acidosis. And also that the amount of filtered buffered anions available to accept H plus are both reduced in case of glomerular dysfunction. So due to this, what causes the consequences for this is there is more amount of accumulation of H plus causing acidosis, and there is anions which are accumulated, that is retained, which causes high anion gap acidosis. Now, in this example, you can see that the sodium and the potassium values are given 140 and 4. Bicarbonate is 15, which is reduced. Chloride is higher. The chloride concentration is slightly higher, and you have high anion gap acidosis. The anion gap is around 10 to 12 millimole or milliequivalent per liter. So here it is 29, and bicarbonate has fallen to a very low level. It's around 20 to 26. It's just 15 here, and due to this, there is more and more amount of anion which is accumulated, which is not measured, and this is leading to high anion gap acidosis in case of glomerular dysfunction, renal failure, uremia. So because of more and more acid is there, and there is less bicarbonate to combat those acid, it causes pH to fall, leading to condition known as acidosis. So your anion gap can be decreased in case where there is proteins like albumin reduction, which can cause decrease in unmeasured anions. This is the cause where there is decrease in your anion gap. Now we got to know about high anion gap acidosis, which can be just remembered by the mnemonic mud piles. Decrease anion gap where there is decreased protein, like in case of hypoalbuminemia, but there can also be a normal anion gap, and that is mainly seen in case of your renal tubular acidosis. In renal tubular acidosis, the anion gap is normal, but there is acidosis because of various reasons. So there are three types. Actually, there are four types of renal tubular acidosis. Type 1, which is distal RTA, type 2, that is proximal RTA, type 3 is the combination of proximal plus distal, and type 4 is because of the deficiency of your aldosterone, which causes proton accumulation, and your sodium reabsorption does not happens, and there is potassium excretion is not possible in case of aldosterone deficiency, which causes renal tubular acidosis. Okay, so in case of renal tubular acidosis type 1, there is defect in your acidification of the urine. We know that H plus is excreted in the form of dihydrogen phosphate or ammonium ion and other titrable acids, which is mainly done by the distal tubules. And if it is defective in case of distal RTA, what happens is urinary acidification and excretion of H plus does not take place, which causes more H plus, leading to decrease in pH, causing acidosis. And type 2 is, so in proximal RTA there is inability to excrete your hydrogen ions, and type 4 is because of the resistance or deficiency in aldosterone. The mechanism of action of aldosterone is it causes sodium absorption, that is sodium reabsorption takes place by the mechanism of action of aldosterone. Potassium is excreted. So if there is no aldosterone, or the kidney is resistant to aldosterone, this potassium excretion does not happen, and your H plus is not H plus and potassium channel exchanger is also not so effective, so it can lead to acidosis obviously and hyperkalemia because of the potassium retention. So in normal anion gap acidosis, we have to know about renal tubular acidosis. Other few causes like carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, drugs like chlorpropamide, lithium, etc. can also cause acidosis, but the anion gap is not altered. Now coming on to this pictorial representation of what happens in renal tubular acidosis, distal, proximal and hyperkalemic RTA. Distal RTA is mainly because of defect in acidification of urine, due to the reason is impaired hydrogen ion excretion. Impaired hydrogen ion means there is no acidification, causing the urine pH to be more than 5.5. There is hypokalemia, and there can be renal stones also. So this is the type 1 distal RTA, which causes normal anion gap acidosis. Type 2 means the proximal anion gap. There is impaired bicarbonate reabsorption, due to which there is decreased bicarbonate level, causing increase in your acidity, and there is again hypokalemia happening in case of proximal RTA. This is mainly because your impaired H plus excretion causes your potassium to get inside the tubular cells, which causes extracellular potassium to be low, causing hypokalemia. Type 3 is a combination of distal plus proximal, and that is not so common. Then comes the last one, that is the type 4, which is the hyperkalemic RTA, which is mainly because of decreased aldosterone or aldosterone resistance to the kidney. In this case, there is decrease in the sodium reabsorption and a decrease in the potassium retention. So since the potassium is not the potassium excretion is decreased, and since the potassium excretion is decreased, there is the condition known as hyperkalemia happening in case of type 4 hyperkalemic RTA.